If you are a Nigerian nurse and you have been putting off migrating to New Zealand because of the IELTS requirement, I need you to watch this video right now. Because there is information out there that most Nigerian nurses do not know, and it could be the difference between you sitting in Nigeria for another 2 years studying for a test, or being on a plane to New Zealand much sooner than you think. In this video I am going to break down the full pathway for Nigerian nurses to migrate to New Zealand in 2026, step by step. I am going to explain what the IELTS exemption actually is, who qualifies for it, what happens if you do not qualify, and the fastest legal route to get yourself registered, employed, and living in New Zealand as a nurse. This is the most complete guide you will find on this topic for Nigerians. So stay with me till the end. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Praise and I run Social and Travels, a travel and migration support company that helps Nigerians navigate international relocation, visa applications, and career migration. This video is specifically for Nigerian nurses who are serious about building their career and life abroad, and New Zealand is one of the best destinations in the world right now for exactly that. New Zealand has a critical nursing shortage. Registered nurses are on the Green List Tier 1, meaning they qualify for a straight-to-residence visa pathway. The government is actively recruiting internationally qualified nurses right now. New Zealand is not just offering jobs, it is offering a pathway to permanent residency, a high quality of life, excellent salaries, and a safe, welcoming environment for healthcare professionals. And as a Nigerian nurse, you are more qualified for this pathway than you might realize. Let me show you why. Let us start with why New Zealand specifically. Because I know some of you are also looking at the UK, Canada, Australia, or Ireland, and those are all good options. But New Zealand offers something particularly powerful right now that the others do not. A green list system that puts registered nurses on a direct track to permanent residency. Not after 5 years, not after jumping through 15 hoops, but after just 2 years of full-time work under the right visa. Salary range for registered nurses in New Zealand, NZD $65,000 to $95,000 per year, depending on experience and location. That is significantly higher than what most Nigerian nurses earn domestically. Green List Tier 1 means registered nurses qualify for the straight-to-residence visa, one of the fastest residency pathways available to any migrant in New Zealand. New Zealand's healthcare system has been experiencing significant shortages, especially in aged care, mental health, medical and surgical nursing, and community care. The government has responded by making it easier and faster for internationally qualified nurses to come in and fill those gaps. This is not a window that will stay open forever. The time to move is now while the pathway is this accessible. Okay. Let us talk about the IELTS question because this is the reason most of you clicked on this video, and I want to be completely honest with you, because I believe you deserve real information, not clickbait. The Nursing Council of New Zealand, the NCNZ, requires all internationally qualified nurses to prove English language proficiency before they can register to practice. They provide 3 pathways to do this. The standard pathway is taking the IELTS academic exam with a minimum score of 7.0 in reading, listening, and speaking, and 6.5 in writing. Or you can take the OET, the Occupational English Test, which is specifically designed for healthcare professionals, and many nurses find it easier because the content is medical in nature. What is the OET? The Occupational English Test is an English proficiency exam designed specifically for healthcare workers. The scenarios and language used in the test are clinical, so as a nurse, you are already familiar with the context. Many Nigerian nurses find it more manageable than the general IELTS academic test. Now, here is where the exemption comes in. The NCNZ does offer alternative English evidence pathways that can allow nurses to skip the IELTS or OET test entirely. But I need to be very specific about who qualifies, because a lot of content online is vague about this and it causes confusion. Exemption Pathway 1, Education in English. If your entire nursing education was taught and examined in English in one of the following countries, the United Kingdom, Ireland, Canada, the United States of America, or Singapore, you may qualify to skip the English test entirely. The NCNZ may ask you to provide a transcript from your institution confirming that your nursing program was delivered in English. Exemption Pathway 2, Current registration in an English-speaking country. If you are currently registered as a nurse in the United Kingdom, Ireland, Canada, or the United States of America, and your registration in that country required you to pass an English language test, you may also qualify for the exemption. Exemption Pathway 3, Work experience in English-speaking healthcare. Nurses who have 3 or more years of recent nursing experience working in a healthcare system where English is the primary language of instruction and practice may also be considered for an exemption on a case-by-case basis. Important clarity for Nigerian nurses. Graduating from a Nigerian university, even though Nigeria's official language is English, does not automatically qualify you for the IELTS exemption under the NCNZ's current policy. The exemption specifically lists the UK, Ireland, Canada, USA, and Singapore as qualifying education countries. However, if you have worked in the UK, Ireland, Canada, or the USA as a registered nurse, that work experience and registration pathway may qualify you. Always verify your specific situation directly with NCNZ before assuming you are exempt. Now, before you close this video, hear me out. This is not bad news. It is honest news. And the good news is that the OET is genuinely more achievable for Nigerian nurses than the general IELTS academic, because it uses nursing and healthcare language you already know. Many Nigerian nurses have passed the OET on their first attempt. And I am going to show you exactly how to prepare for it and how to fast-track everything else while you are preparing. So keep watching. Alright. Now let us get into the actual steps. This is the complete pathway from where you are right now in Nigeria to being a registered, employed nurse in New Zealand. Follow this in order and do not skip steps. 1. Confirm your eligibility. You need a valid nursing degree that meets NCNZ standards, current registration as a nurse in Nigeria with the Nursing and Midwifery Council of Nigeria, and at least 1,800 hours of post-registration clinical practice, which is roughly 1 year of full-time nursing work. If you meet these 3 things, you are eligible to begin the process. 2. Sort your English language evidence. As we just discussed, determine which pathway applies to you. If you qualify for an exemption, gather the evidence documents now. If you do not qualify for an exemption, begin preparing for the OET immediately. Do not wait until everything else is ready. Start your OET preparation now, in parallel with the other steps. The OET is offered multiple times a year and you can sit it in Nigeria at authorized test centers. OET preparation tip. The nursing subtest for OET covers reading, writing, listening, and speaking, all in a healthcare context. Use official OET practice materials and focus heavily on the writing section, which involves writing patient referral letters, a skill you already use professionally. Apply through TrueMerit, the CVSN-CNZ Credentials Verification Service. Before you can apply to the Nursing Council of New Zealand directly, you must first have your credentials verified through TrueMerit, formerly CGFNS. This is a mandatory step. TrueMerit will verify and authenticate your identity documents, your nursing degree, and your employment history, and then prepare a report that goes directly to the NCNZ. This process takes time, so start it as early as possible, ideally while you are still preparing for your OET. 4. Apply to the Nursing Council of New Zealand. Once TrueMerit has submitted your verified credentials to the NCNZ, you submit your formal application for registration. The application fee is NZD $485. Your application will be evaluated against NCNZ's registration standards. your qualifications, your clinical hours, your English evidence, and your character and health declarations. 5. Complete the required online cultural competence courses. All internationally qualified nurses registering in New Zealand must complete 2 mandatory online modules. The Noperua Titiriti Module 1, which covers the Treaty of Waitangi and its relevance to healthcare, and Foundations in Cultural Competence. These are completed online and are not exams, they are learning modules. But they are compulsory and must be done before your registration is finalized. 6. Pass the International Criminal History Check. You must undergo an International Criminal History Check, the ICHC, as part of your registration process. This involves submitting a request for your criminal history record from Nigerian authorities and any other country where you have lived or worked for 12 months or more in the past 10 years. 7. Pass the Competence Assessment, Theoretical Exam and OSCE. This is a critical step. Internationally qualified nurses must pass both a theoretical online exam and an objective structured clinical examination, the OSCE. The theoretical exam is taken online at Pearson VUE accredited test centers globally, so you can sit it in Nigeria before you even travel. The OSCE is a practical clinical skills assessment that evaluates whether you can practice safely to New Zealand standards. OSCE preparation is serious and you should invest in proper coaching for it. There are dedicated OSCE preparation programs specifically designed for internationally qualified nurses migrating to New Zealand. Invest in one. The OSCE is not a test you want to walk into unprepared. Proper preparation significantly improves your pass rate. 8. Secure a job offer in New Zealand. While your registration process is underway, or immediately after you receive registration approval, start applying for nursing positions in New Zealand. Many New Zealand employers are actively recruiting internationally, and some will support your visa application once you have a job offer. Focus on hospitals, aged care facilities, mental health services, and community nursing, all of which are in high demand. The Seek New Zealand and Healthcare New Zealand job boards are good starting points. 9. Apply for your New Zealand work visa. As a registered nurse with NCNZ registration and a job offer, you qualify for the Accredited Employer Work Visa, the AEWV. Your employer must be an accredited employer with Immigration New Zealand. Because nursing is on the Green List Tier 1, you may also qualify to apply directly for the Straight-to-Residence Visa, which bypasses the work visa stage entirely and gives you residency from the start. Check with an immigration advisor to determine which pathway is fastest and most appropriate for your situation. 10. Arrive, work, and apply for permanent residency. Once you are in New Zealand working as a registered nurse under the right visa, your permanent residency pathway is already running. Under the Green List Tier 1 Straight-to-Residence pathway, you can apply for permanent residency almost immediately. Under the Work-to-Residence pathway, you apply after 2 years of full-time work. Either way, New Zealand is designed to keep skilled nurses and make them permanent residents. I want to give you a realistic picture of how long this process takes because I think it is important to plan properly rather than be surprised. This is not a process that happens in 2 weeks, but it is also not as long as many people fear when they approach it the right way. OET preparation and sitting, 2 to 4 months depending on your current level and how intensively you prepared. Numeric credentials verification can take 2 to 4 months. Start this at the same time as your OET preparation. Do not wait. NCNZ registration process including OSCE, typically 4 to 6 months after your credentials are verified. Total realistic timeline from starting to arriving in New Zealand, 9 to 18 months for most Nigerian nurses who start everything in parallel and stay consistent. The nurses who take the longest are the ones who do these steps one at a time and wait for each one to finish before starting the next. The nurses who move fastest are the ones who start their OET preparation and their true merit application on the same day and keep everything moving in parallel. That is the strategy. Start everything together and keep pushing forward consistently, waiting to start until everything feels perfect. There is no perfect time. Start your OET preparation and your true merit application today, even if you feel unsure about some steps. Momentum matters more than perfection. Assuming you automatically qualify for the IELTS exemption because Nigeria's official language is English. As I explained earlier, the NCNZ's exemption pathways are specific. Nigerian university education alone does not qualify. Always verify your specific eligibility directly with NCNZ or TrueMerit before assuming you are exempt. Underestimating the OSCE. The objective structured clinical examination is a serious practical assessment. Many nurses who do not prepare adequately fail on their first attempt, which delays everything by months. Invest in proper OSCE coaching. It is money well spent. Using unofficial or fraudulent documents. The TrueMerit credentials verification process is thorough and rigorous. Any attempt to misrepresent your qualifications or experience will result in your application being permanently declined and potentially blacklisted. Be honest, be accurate, and be thorough. Not consulting an immigration advisor. Immigration law is complex and changes regularly. A registered New Zealand immigration advisor can help you choose the fastest visa pathway for your specific situation, avoid costly mistakes, and make sure your application is as strong as it can possibly be. This is especially important when deciding between the straight-to-residence visa and the accredited employer work visa. Specialize if you can. Mental health nurses and aged care nurses are in particularly high demand in New Zealand right now. If you have experience in either of these areas, highlight it prominently in your job applications. It will make you significantly more attractive to New Zealand employers. Connect with Nigerian nurses already in New Zealand. There are Facebook groups, WhatsApp communities, and LinkedIn networks of Nigerian healthcare professionals who have already made the move. These communities are invaluable for real, first-hand advice, job leads, and emotional support through the process. Find them and join them. Research the regions, not just Auckland. Most people think of Auckland when they think of New Zealand, and yes, it is a great city. But nursing jobs in smaller regions like Waikato, Wellington, Canterbury, and Otago often come with additional relocation support, housing assistance, and faster hiring processes because competition is lower. Do not limit yourself to Auckland alone. Start saving now. The migration process has real costs: OET exam fees, TrueMerit fees, NCNZ application fees, OSCE preparation, flights, and initial accommodation in New Zealand. Start putting money aside specifically for this process so that money never becomes the reason you slow down or stop. Your Nigerian nursing experience is valuable. Do not underestimate what you bring to the table. Nigerian nurses are known for resilience, adaptability, and clinical capability developed in resource-constrained environments. New Zealand employers recognize this. Walk into this process knowing your worth. And that is your complete guide, from Nigeria to New Zealand as a registered nurse in 2026. Is it a process? Yes. Does it take time and effort? Absolutely. But is it completely achievable for a Nigerian nurse who is intentional, prepared, and consistent? 100% yes. New Zealand needs you. Their healthcare system has real gaps that Nigerian nurses are perfectly positioned to fill. And the country offers a quality of life, salary, and residency pathway that is genuinely life-changing. You owe it to yourself to take this seriously. If this video helped you, please give it a thumbs up and share it with every Nigerian nurse you know who has been thinking about this. It could literally change someone's life. Subscribe for more migration guides, visa content, and travel resources made specifically for Nigerians who are ready to move. Now drop your question in the comments. Where are you in this process right now? Just starting? Already doing your OET? Already in New Zealand? Tell me. I read every comment and I will reply. And if you need personalized support navigating this journey, reach out to Social and Travels. The link is in the description. Let us get you to New Zealand. See you in the next video.